What's up, everybody? It's another episode of the Rap or Cap podcast. I got my guy and my brother, Ricky Wallace, in the building.
Yo, what up, peoples? What up?
So, can you dap up? But we're going to do the virtual pound right here. Keep it
Yes,
pound.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, just go ahead and introduce yourself. Let people know something about yourself. And, yeah.
All right. Yo, my name is Ricky Wallace Jr. I am a dancer. I teach dance at Impulse Dance Academy here in Indianapolis, and I also teach hip hop at Dance Connection here in Indianapolis. I've been dancing for
Long time.
since a very long time. About 11 years. I went to school and graduated high school at Heidelberg High School. Shout out to all my H-Town dogs.
Shout out to Germany, yes, sir.
All my H-Town Lions. But yeah, and then I went to performing arts school at Stuttgart, New York City Dance School. Went there, got my degree certificate, professional dance, to be able to teach dance and to be a backup dancer and perform and all these other things. And I do that, and I'm also a team leader at Chick-fil-A. So holla at your boy if you need some chicken sandwiches, slang your way. I got you
for sure.
But no, I got you. I do that as well. And then last but definitely not least, I am one of the worship leaders at my church here in Indianapolis, the Caring Place. Beautiful church, beautiful people. That's where I serve there, and then we serve our community and as well doing Caring Place Reach, which we are going into the city. The roughest neighborhoods on the east side of Indianapolis is Indianapolis, and we're telling these young black boys, young black girls, these young kids about Jesus and giving them hope, and then do that, but spending time with them, building a relationship with them too. It's every Saturday we're out there, so it's amazing. It's real cool. But that's just me. And I also have been. I gotta big this up because it's like the biggest part. I've been married for 5 years to my beautiful wife, Noelle Wallace. So shout out to her.
Shout out to Noelle for sure.
Yeah, for sticking with me for this long, because I'm kind of hard headed and a handful, but yeah, but she's still here. But yeah, so yeah, she's still here. She rides with me, and she doesn't judge me for liking Dragon Ball Z and watching it 24/7. So I knew this is it.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. It will never change. Never change. About to introduce my kids. They're gonna be trying to Kamehameha all their siblings.
Oh, for sure.
In the house, for sure. But yeah, that's not me, man. Oh, absolutely. Straight up Cell and Gohan just giving hands.
Oh God.
Yeah. Straight up. For sure.
Yes, sir. So before we get started, I want to shout out God is Dope for the t-shirt. Appreciate it. Definitely need that sponsorship. If you want to sponsor your boy, go ahead and do it. You don't have much choice because I buy all your stuff anyway, so you might as well just go ahead and get that sponsorship. Feel me?
Exactly.
So first thing I'm going to kick it off with, of course, you know the vibes, is the top 3. So I thought about it. There's a couple of things I wanted to give you, but being is that we are who we are, I had to give you this one. So give me your top 3 pet peeves.
Ooh, top 3 pet peeves.
The show.
Okay, one is lack of effort. It's like bro, see, you're not. That's like probably number one. If I see you're not even trying, or like you don't even want to try, it burns me up. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just do it myself. So I don't even or if you like a person to do something and then like you do it with a bad attitude and you have to do it. It's like, you know what? Don't even do it. I got it. Don't even worry about it. So lack of effort. Number 2. And it's funny because I feel like I'm this way sometimes too, but being extra, like just being being over dramatic. Like I know I can be a, but like when I see it in other people, it makes me check myself and be like, man, maybe I need to calm down. Because when you just like, it's like when you're, oh my gosh, this thing happened and it's the end of the world, and oh wait, so you saying you lost your keys but you found them? Then just say that. It's cool. Like you don't have to tell me that you almost had like a heart attack
Mhm.
and like jumped off a bridge and saw Jesus come back just because you forgot that your keys were in your left shoe. Like it's all good. So that one, and then another pet peeve. It okay. So this bounces back. The one I just named, that's probably number three. The other one is like fakeness. Like
Mm,
overt fakeness is like I can't be around it. And like that's funny. Noelle knows when because I'm genuinely nice to everybody, but when I sense like a fakeness around you, it's like I don't even want to associate with you at
for
all. Like
sure.
there's just like it's just nah. It's just like you're giving off the vibes you're giving off is just like ugh. And she could tell instantly because she's like, oh, you really don't like this person. Like I was like, no. Like fun fact, we were listening to a podcast at one road trip we were going on, and it was like the what's the thing called, the Enneagram, where it's like your personality test and all this stuff like that, and the type
Hmm.
of person you are. And then like the one that was really good, and then we started listening to another one, and I just completely checked out because I'm like, I feel like there's no realness to anything that she's talking about. It's just like it's just so like it's just all for show. So I'm like, I immediately like, I check out when that happens. So those have to be my top three: lack of effort, fakeness, and then of course at being extra, like just being extra.
Yeah, I could tell those was hitting home when you were talking about
Oh boy, yeah.
it.
Oh boy, being
They,
extras. Oh yeah, yeah,
for
man.
sure. Like, I just want to ask a couple things, just it's not a quiz, but I like
Yeah.
constructive feedback or whatever. So, just about the podcast, like, how did you feel about the last episode of the podcast?
So the last episode. So let me see. The last episode. I'm trying to go through all the topics.
Don't fall in love with a version of someone was the last one.
Yo, okay, yes. So
Hmm.
this is good, and then I've been telling Noelle about it. She hasn't listened to an episode yet, but I've been like rapping and just sharing the different topics and stuff like that. And then when she
Hmm.
said that, when I told her you were doing this one was great because
Hmm.
okay, talking from a Christian standpoint, she's
Hmm.
like she's like, I wish they taught this in pre-marriage counseling. When Christians are about to get married, because it's a lot of two Christians start dating, and just in dating in general, you're on your best behavior. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You are
sir.
on your absolute best behavior, and then you're
Hmm.
married and it's like, boom. It's like, whoa, this is not the person that was dating. And a lot of times you don't do it on purpose. Like it's not on purpose. It's just like you get comfortable, you
Hmm.
know, and things change. Like for instance, like for us, like we hung out a lot more when we were dating. And then when we got married, both we let our work schedules kind of contain us.
Yeah.
Like it's like we didn't go out. And then if we did go out or do dates, it's a lot of times like when we were dating, they were like cheap and stuff like that. But like the dates kind of stopped when we got married because it's like, all right, we're married and we're doing life now. And we got these bills, so
Yeah.
we got to knock these out. So that it's not some no necessary not necessarily like in an like an intentional type thing, but
Hmm.
it's a very good. But no, it was bro, you're speaking some
Appreciate that.
major facts, because it is when life happens to a person, you change. Like we info time, like, and I don't care about this, like we're pretty open about talking about it, but me and my wife have been through three miscarriages.
Hmm.
That person, and the first miscarriage we had, She had the miscarriage, and then her mother died the like following month or so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that changes a person. Like a person is not the same. So that version of the person that you know, it alters them. Trauma alters people. Like
Yeah,
that's why you get these. Sometimes you get these broken people with traumatic, like that you knew a long time ago, and something traumatic happens and they're not the same. It's like a, not comparing the two, but like almost an example of like a person going off, a person in the military going off the war for the on the front lines, and they've seen battle buddies die, seen the most heinous things that come back. They're a changed person. That's not the same version of that you know anymore.
for sure.
But yeah, exactly. Like just was major effects on that episode. Good sir.
Appreciate it. Appreciate that
Major
a lot.
effects, of course.
So,
Of course.
what's your favorite episode, if I can ask that?
Favorite episode
So you
was
got
probably
begging. Oh, go ahead.
asking for clarity. Asking for
Oh,
clarity. Man, oh man. That one was I think I told you that one was the best one
mm-hmm.
so far for me. That one was the best one so far, just because this was the one I was like, I knew I needed to apply some of the other myself. This was the one I was like, I definitely need to apply to me, and apply not just in my marriage, but like in general. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times I feel like I am also the type that feels like when I ask somebody something or ask somebody to do something, I'm asking too much of them. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't clarify exactly what they want, and then if they don't get it, that gives me a way out to say, "Oh no, I'll just take care of it." But thank you though.
Oh,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean?
For
And
sure.
like, yeah, so you know what I mean? Like, so Noelle is like my wife. She's very much so. I'm like very much so like I say stuff, and like it won't, like I'll take care of it myself, but like she's sitting there asking me like, no, I don't get what you mean in this, like explain this to me. And then like I have to check myself, because sometimes I get frustrated, because like sometimes where I'm like, yo, what do you mean? Like it's easy, I'm just saying this. And then it's like, no, we come from different backgrounds. This may mean something different to her than it
Mm-hmm.
does to me. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, especially it's going to be different backgrounds, because one, we're interracial couples. Like she's white and I'm black. So like
Yeah.
there's going to be a different things in that nature. So that we're just learning about each other. But just asking questions for clarity. And then like when you said giving clarity too, like the illustration you used about the dad telling the son to go mow the lawn, and then he mows it a certain way, but the dad was like, no, I wanted you to do it this way. Well, you didn't say that. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's something I struggle with. I would be like, oh, can you do this? And then like, again, I'm like, it's not the way, but it's okay. That's not what I wanted. But like, I didn't explain how I wanted it, like wanted this thing done. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And then Noelle and I, we talk about this too, and she's gotten better at it. But before, when she talked, like I would want to help her, simple, but I would want to help her clean the house or something. So I go and do the dishes, go and do this. Well, I did them, or I go and put the groceries up, but put them up. Like I put them up. My thing is, hey, they're in the cabinets, but no, she has a system of how she does stuff. So for her, it's like, hey, thank you so much for it. But I put this over here and put this over here and put this over here, because let's be honest, she's in the kitchen way more than I am.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't trying to mess up her flow or anything like that. But she's very much so, she's very good at just being like, oh no, I put this over here because of this, or I put this over here because of this, or I put this over here. Now sometimes I'm just hard headed and I don't listen. So when I do stuff, sometimes she'll come back and be like, no, I got it, thank you. Or she'll be like
Mm-hmm.
the stuff I am good at, she's like, yeah, you could do that, but I'll take care of the kitchen. Or
Mm-hmm.
like, but yeah, man, that one's my favorite so far. Favorite so far. It was so good.
For
Super
sure.
good.
My mom said the same thing, and honestly, it was a self check for myself because when I'm recording, I'm like, "Eeh." I probably need to look at myself too. Like,
Yeah.
and my mom, like, I'm walking around, and my mom is just like asking me a bunch of questions, literally that same week, and she's like, "So, wait, what are you doing, or what are you gonna do with this?" And I'm like, "Mom, like, what?" She was like, "I'm asking questions for clarity." I'm like, I'm gonna answer like the next 2 weeks." She was like, "Yeah, don't preach it if you can't practice it." I'm like, "All right, all right, all right." Literally.
Okay, Ma, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, all right, all right, all right. Like, relax. You know, the cameras could be rolling anywhere. Like, come on now, you can't be trying.
Right?
So, what's a topic you would want to hear?
Um, Topic I want to hear. Oh man.
That I can speak
Uh,
on, because I ain't speaking on kids and I ain't speaking on marriage.
no, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
for sure.
Um, Dude. So there's a couple. One, um, toxic masculinity in the Black community.
Mm, toxic masculinity.
Yeah, I feel like
Mm,
that is in the Black community a lot. Like, and it's not.
let me write that down.
I don't. I think that's. It's a thing where like we as Black men, and I struggle with this too. Like,
Hmm.
we don't like to show our emotions because we feel like we can't really be vulnerable with anybody, and rightfully so, because right, because when we are open, it's like or open with our emotion or explaining how we feel, we're causing division, or we're doing this or we're doing that, or all the facts as to why you're angry that an unarmed Black man got killed again. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's like, okay, I'd rather not say nothing. I'll shut everything up. So that one's a good one. And then what we've learned too, like, we were like, my uncle
Hmm.
always taught, like, you better toughen up. Like, nobody see you cry, you better toughen up, the stuff like that. But in reality, like, there's points where I can't show emotion to my wife, to my partner, and she'd be there for me, supposed to be vulnerable, like, I can't let her in. And then I can't let her in either, to check my heart, to check my how I'm doing emotionally, because I've shut everybody out, you know. That would be a good topic. And then, boy, I hope you speak on it. You posted it on the thing, as posed it as a question. Is love hard, or do people make it hard?
Oh.
Boy, oh boy. You gotta talk about that one, because man, because that's a that's such a, like, I think I think Instagram and movies and social media and music videos and music have made love out to be like this
Fairy tale.
beautiful,
Euphoria.
very, like, yeah, like, it's such a great, it is, don't get me wrong, it is when it's good, but like, when it gets bad, when it gets hard, like,
Hmm.
so the Bible says love is patient. Like, patience ain't easy. Like, patience is
Hmm.
not easy when you looking at your significant other and they have, like, made you angry beyond return, but like, they're hungry. So go in there and like cook for them or do whatever. That's hard to do when you mad for a person,
For sure.
mad at a person. Like, it's so hard to do, like, to constantly put your pride down every single time, because it's like, oh man, I forgot, but it was going along the terms of, like, and for the sake of an argument, do you want to be right, or do you want to, like, fix it? Like, do you want to fix the problem?
Hmm.
Because sometimes being right doesn't fix the problem, it just magnifies it. So
Hmm.
it's like, so that's a hard thing to do, because boy, I tell you, when Noel and I do have, like, disagreements or arguments, want to be every single time. And I will, like, and then it hits me. It's like, this is pointless. We've just spent 30 minutes on this thing when we could have spent 30 minutes doing something else. Why were we arguing about this? And sometimes you have to swallow your pride and swallow it, and like, and like, take a look at yourself and be like, worth. my relationship. This isn't worth my friendship. This isn't worth any of that. So I'm gonna dead this right now. That's
Yeah.
a hard thing to do. Like, so love is hard. Love is very, but it's also worth it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a topic. Boy, oh boy, that's a good topic.
That sounds like a Valentine's
That
Day
one,
topic.
bro, definitely.
Hey.
Um, that and the opposite sex friends thing.
Oh, I'm for sure. You know, I'm gonna get into that.
Definitely,
I'm definitely
definitely,
getting into
because
that.
bro, that one's a good topic. That one's a great topic. Um, and like it's oh man, it's a thing again where like it's like if you're significant, it's not so much a red flag. It is like a oh man, they're really close to this person. I wonder
Mm-hmm.
if they've ever had feelings for this person. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, so that thought does come, but it's not so much of like red flags come is where it's like, if you say you're interested in this person and they say they're interested in you, but like they flaking on you to go hang out with their best friend or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, or the opposite, that's where the red flag comes. But like initially, I don't think it's initially a red flag. It just depends on the situation. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean?
For sure.
It just
Cause
depends because it's like I don't know. It depends.
yeah, cause I don't feel like going you to hang by myself.
Right.
Let alone a best
Right.
friend, but you know,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
It is. Yeah. That's
mm,
a. It's a doozy. It's a doozy of a topic, but it's a topic though.
for sure.
Really good topic. Yeah.
I
Definitely.
like toxic masculinity in Black communities. I
Oh.
love that. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely am gonna talk on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to bring my dad on for that one. Actually,
Ooh, yes. Your dad would be perfect.
yeah, I'm gonna have to bring my dad
Oh
on
yeah.
for that one.
OG. The old OG might.
The triple OG, double OG, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh man, Pops just had a birthday, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a birthday yesterday.
Happy belated birthday, Mr. Dickerson.
Oh, for sure. I'm
Oh,
gonna tell him he's loving everybody telling him happy birthday because he's celebrating apparently all month. So
oh, we doing birthday months now?
yeah, literally,
Okay.
I don't know where he gets it from. So,
I don't know. I don't know.
but all right,
But
let's get into these topics.
yes,
I
sir. Yes,
I
sir.
served you up a nice little platter of
Yeah.
topics. So the first one I'm gonna let you choose from is being possessive,
Mm-hmm.
gossiping to friends about friends, and
Mm.
marriage is servanthood. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
These are good.
Yeah, bro.
I'm gonna go with the marriage of servanthood.
I knew you was going to, bro. I
I
knew
know
you
I
was
have
going
to.
to.
So like I have to just because my wife is a bond servant. When I say that, like, I don't mean like she's my slave, she's anything or anything bragging on her. When I say she, and I don't ask for this, I've never been this way. I just don't. She me hand and foot. Like it's crazy. Like I have to force her to stop doing stuff sometimes because I'm like, hey, you're doing way too much, and I don't require much. Like I don't require much at all. Like
Mhm.
you're doing way much. Just you. He's very much so like she's very much in the 5 years that we've been married. And count on my finger when I've like that she has like the times that she hasn't cooked. Like
Wow.
cooked. Yeah, like like she's always whether it be like, hey, we're doing grilled cheese sandwiches like turkey in the middle of the night
Mhm.
to because she's like, I'm just a little tired. Like, babe, you don't have to cook at all. Like I can make a peanut butter jelly sandwich or I can cook something, like and like or I can make something for myself. You don't have to. And she's like, no, I don't mind. I like want to like I want to like but like servanthood, when I say like, there's been times where we've had heated disagreements, heated arguments, and like she will get up and she'll be like, "Here, I made this for you." And like, yeah, we're kind of at odds right now, but like that that servanthood of, no matter how I feel right now, no matter what I do, I'm still going to serve you because you're my husband and I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad at you right now, but I love you so much. She embodies that. And like, I try my best to be that way. Like, she's making me better in that way of
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm mad at you right now, but I still am going to love you and I'm still going to serve you. And I think a lot of times, you know, the saying goes, people fall in love with the wedding, but not marriage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
people are all ready for the wedding day and this and that and stuff, but there's such hard work that comes with being married. And like it says, for better or worse. And when worse comes to worse, it's worse. Like, no, you know, like servanthood for her is me venting, because she's a white woman, so me venting about all this stuff that white people do, this racism and all this stuff, and she listens with compassion, and like, she does not get offended. You know what I mean? She,
Yeah.
like, not only that, she's like, she's looking at me hurt because she has no way to make for me, and she also has the thought in the back of her mind of like, man, I've these things intentionally and he not even know about it, and like, it makes me feel terrible. And like, she goes out of her way to educate herself and do all these things. Like, she you're supposed to serve each other in your marriage, point
Yeah.
blank. Because when she thinks, some of the things she struggles with is like depression, and like, it hits home when like those when she thinks, she's never mad about those 3 miscarriages that we've had.
Mm.
And but for her it hits different because one, she's a woman. These were babies that she carried for the little time that she carried them, you know. Servanthood is like, no wife is going through this, and like, being willing and being able to be there for her, like, in those times and in that time, like, you know. And that time may last 3 weeks, and that time may last a day, that time may last 30, you don't know. But being available and being able to hold her up in
Mm-hmm.
that time, it's just, man, marriage servanthood is just like, it's a thing that's not, it's not really talked about anymore, because a lot of times it's, oh, this ain't working in my marriage, I'm gonna try it, I'm gonna just argue for however long, and then, you know what, here's these divorce papers, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very, I feel like it isn't, I think marriage isn't really cherished as much as it used to be. um
Thousand
I
percent
do feel
agree.
like I do feel like, especially in the church, it's over glorified. Again, I feel like it's a thing where it's, oh, it's supposed to be happy. I'm supposed to be this. It's supposed to be this all the time. It's supposed to be my lady cooking stuff in the kitchen, and then I come up behind her and kiss her on the cheek, and then boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
flowers, all this stuff like that. But a lot of times it's ugly, and it's messy, and it's hard. It's like, you go through stuff, and you see, and like, you see that person, you know what I mean? Like, you see different sides of that person, that, you know, my wife has saw different sides of me that she never thought she would see. And
Mm-hmm.
like especially sometimes when I get angry, because I get mean, bro. Like, and I'm working on it, but like, when I'm like mad to a certain point, I can be really mean, and not, I'm like verbally abusing her or anything like that, but I'm just very short and
Mm-hmm.
like snappy, and like, she's still there, like, still there, willing to love me, even though she's seen like some of the ugliest parts of me. Like,
Yeah.
that, I think, is a beautiful thing that nobody, because honestly, it's made us stronger. I think that's a beautiful thing that not everybody, not a lot of people cherish, because nobody wants to put in the work to go through that. I think
Hmm.
there's a lot of work that comes in with being willing to serve your wife or serve your husband, or like serve your significant, like your spouse, like serving them. And like there's a hard amount of work, and like I'm still working on it. Like I am not saying this by preaching of saying I'm like, oh, I made it. Like 5 years in, we got this. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But like we've just been surrounded with we've been surrounded one we've been blessed and surrounded with great marriages of what that looks like. um
Hmm.
we've also been blessed in the fact that we've seen relationships where we don't see it and we're like, don't want to do that. I know how to handle this situation if we're ever in it too. But like seeing what servanthood looks like in my parents' marriage and her parents' marriage, um and our good friends that's been married for about, I think, going on 15 years now, in their marriage, um shoot, in your parents' marriage, I saw it before I was married, and like in your parents, like I've had really, really great examples of what servanthood looks like. Um, and it's a beautiful thing done right, but it's also a very, very hard thing. Um, and I think people should know that like you're going to, it's going to be a thing where if you do decide to get married and you do, like, not saying that it's beautiful, and there's going to be moments where you're going to have butterflies in your stomach. There's going to be moments where you're just like, you're going to feel like you're floating. There's going to be moments where
Hmm.
it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And I think that's where the servanthood is easy. But I think you also need to know that it's going to be a 24/7 thing, because there's going to be times where it gets bad and your spouse is going to need you, and that's where the servanthood really kicks in. Like my wife needed me when we lost our first baby, and her like and her grandmother dies the next month. Like, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like all of that, boom boom, haymaker, like haymaker at the haymaker. Your wife is gonna, like, your spouse is gonna need you going through something like that, and you can't have the attitude of like, oh, just like in the moment being like, yeah, that sucks. But like 2 weeks down the line, you're like, oh, you're still on that. Get off of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't be that way. Um, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to, one, respect her and allow her to heal, and that's gonna be healing that takes place for a long time. Um, um, Knowing about my wife's insecurities and different things, I serve her in a different way,
Hmm.
because I know she thinks about these things. So one of the things is sometimes that scares her is sometimes when I get off work and she's home, and I'll sit in the car sometimes, because I always sit in the car. Like I
For
either sit in the
sure.
car to finish an album, or
Hmm.
just scroll through my phone or listen to music and stuff. But for her, sometimes it comes off as like, hey, do you not want to be around me? And then that
Yeah.
just insecurities that she grew up with because of her family and different things of that nature. And like just things that she's gone through. Um, because she's like, she doesn't want anybody, she doesn't want to feel like she's bothering me. So like sometimes, like I just, out of, to serve her and to serve her mental, I'll just be like, hey, I'm home, I'm just downstairs listening to music or sitting in the car for a little bit, I'll be up. And some people may look at that and be like, bro, I'm a grown man, I ain't about to do all that. But like, love that person and you know this is something they struggle with, why would you intentionally just not do something? Like, it's simple. All it is me sending a simple text saying, hey, I'm home, I just wanted to sit down in the car, listen to music for a little bit. I'm not perfect at it, because sometimes I'll forget. And not only that, for her mental, she's well aware that I am a black male, 6'5", 200 plus pounds. She hasn't heard from me, and I'm supposed to be off work at this time. but I haven't made it home yet.
Yeah.
And she knows about she knows about Ahmaud Arbery. She knows about George Floyd. She knows about Breonna Taylor. Knows about Tamir Wright. She knows about all of these because she's went and educated herself. It literally will like it plays in her head like every day she's uh just just serving her in the way of just keeping her mental together, because I know these are things she struggles with and things that she's working on as well. But I'm like, I'm not. I don't want to feed more into her, like feed her insecurities more. You
Mm.
know, um, a lot of times when you're like, a lot of people say, "Oh, they're insecure, so that I'm not gonna do anything." But like, I don't want to be the cause of her insecurities either. Like, so I want to like serve her in that way.
Mhm.
Um, One big example of her serving me, this time last year, I didn't have a job. I wasn't teaching dance. I wasn't working at Lowe's anymore. I had, fun fact, I worked at Lowe's for 5 years and I was in a manager position there, and I was the most miserable I have ever been in my life.
Mm.
It was terrible stress. Worked, my schedule was supposed to be 6 to 3. I During this time when I was a manager, there was like weeks, 2 week stretches, 3 week stretches where I was literally working from 6 to 10 o'clock
Mm.
at night, or 6 to 11. Like, I was burning myself out. I had nothing. I had nothing to give, and it caused a rift. Like, not to where me and her were at odds, but like I couldn't serve Noelle the way I needed to. I couldn't
Yeah.
love her the way I needed to because I was just completely exhausted, and she was giving everything to me at that time. And then it went through a month span where I was like, came to a time where I stepped down, moved to a closer store because I was driving an hour away for like 2 years time, being in Indianapolis for like 2 years. And
Mhm.
then like it got to a point where like I can't do that anymore. So I was like, I'm stepping down and I'm going to go to a closer store because I thought that would help. And I wasn't going to be in a manager position. Then I was just to the point where like, yo, I'm just burnt out of Lowe's. Like I can't even do my job effectively anymore. So I like found something else and did that for like a month and hated that. Literally hated that. And then she was like, hey, gave me the go, was like, hey, we'll be okay if you want to, I don't miserable. I don't want you to be, she's like, I don't want you to be miserable. I don't want you to be just hating going to work because that's not going to help you. That's not going to help our marriage. That's not going to help you serve the church or anything like that. So like, so she was like, if you got to let it go, then let it go. And I did. And I think from last year, I had quit Black Friday on November. I had quit, not Lowe's, but after Lowe's for like about a month, I went and started working at State Farm.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna give them a shout out, Brittany Wells, State Farm, because she was an amazing boss, like amazing. The whole team, Tamika, Taylor, Ron, they were all great.
Mhm.
But calling people and trying to sell insurance, bro, that's
The
a
devil.
whole different, bro. That's a different ball game for because Brittany's good at it, Taylor's good at it, Tamika's good at it. Like they were all good at it. So was Ron. Ron was really good at it, man. But like me, I'm not a pushy person, and I'm not gonna try and sell you something that you don't need. If
Mhm.
you're saying you don't need it, it's like, you don't need it. All right, then cool. And it's like, nah, you make sure you kind of impose your will a little bit just so to be like, but no, Brittany, she was great, man. Brittany Wells, State Farm, and Speedway, Indiana. She's a beast, and that firm is gonna go places. Like I still appreciate she took a chance on me, and I had not sold any insurance at all. I was just like, I'm gonna try something different. Just never tried it, and I would regret it more not trying it if I like not trying it going on to do something. Always think, well, what if I did try it and I was good at it? Glad I actually did it and was like, yeah, I know I don't like this.
Yeah.
Um, and then so I was doing that for a month, and bro, when I say it was miserable, dog, I was like, yo, I was contemplating going back to Lowe's because the whole reason why I really wanted to quit Lowe's was to get back into dance. But I
Mm-hmm.
get back into dance because they were switching our schedules like crazy. They were making us working overnights and stuff. So I was like, and then on top of the added stress of not wanting to work at Lowe's anymore, I can't do this because I want to go back to my calling. I want to get back into doing dance again. And I was like, oh, well, State Farm will allow me to do that. And nope, it was like, nah, I couldn't do it. I was like, I couldn't do that. So Noelle was like, you know, you want to get back in the dance, and you know, you would be miserable staying here. So whatever job, whatever you want to go do, like I'm fine. Like if you're wanting to let this go, then we'll be okay. We'll be fine. And the I quit State Farm. Black Friday was my last day there last year, and I didn't have a job December, January, and I didn't start working at Chick-fil-A February, and I didn't start teaching dance, I think, until that February as well of this year. So
Mm-hmm.
dance, Chick-fil-A all came back in February. And like that whole stretch, servanthood for I think for her was like, bro, she was like getting off. She's a nanny and she nannies 3 boys. She was
Mm-hmm.
getting off work at like 5, going in at 7:30, 7:45 ish, sometimes 7, getting off at 5:45 ish, sometimes 6, gets off. She's going and doing DoorDash, or she's going to do uh the Instacart or Shipped, going to do that just to make ends meet while I'm trying to search for a job and like have different interviews, getting like putting in application, no callbacks anywhere or anything like that. Like, bro, it was like, in that whole time, she never once was like, you need to find a job, or you need to do something, or
Mm-hmm.
you need to be doing this because I'm doing this, no, I'm doing this, da 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 da, this whole in the 9 yards. She's like, no, just be. She's like, just be encouraged. You're gonna find something, and when you do, we know that's gonna be what God has laid out for you. Now, the man in me was like, bro, I gotta find something quick because I can't be having my wife out here working all hours of the day. Like, bro, I felt terrible, like, terrible. But like, she was the reassurance that I got from her to just be like, no, I want you to find something that you know you're gonna like. Because she was like, I don't want you to like be in the same boat, be miserable, and quit. And at this point, I was like, yo, I just need to find something and then suck it up. Like that's what I was like, but like.
Hold on, Rick. I think we lost you again. All right.
Um, but yeah, man, like her patience with me in that time was like unmatched. Like she was she was just very patient, very kind, and just like whenever I did, and I think it's the reason why now I'm able. One, I was like able to find Chick-fil-A, which was not an option at all,
Mm-hmm.
not an option. I was like, dog, I'm not going back to fast food. Like high school, yeah, that's cool, but like I've been a manager in a pretty well off company. Like I've been this. Like I'm not going back to fast food, and like I tried it, and like she encouraged me. You know, it probably wouldn't hurt for you to just try it. Like if you try it and you don't like it, hey, you find something else. Like put an application app, and like I did it, and bro, down my favorite job that I've ever worked outside of dance.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was definitely one of my favorite places that I've worked.
Oh, not to not
Great.
to not to cut you off or anything,
Oh, no, good.
but just to like kind of highlight some things that you said that you're saying and that you're talking
Right.
about, it just seems like there is a high level of humility involved in being married.
Mm-hmm.
You keep talking
Mm-hmm.
about having to suck up your pride and having to do things that you normally as an individual wouldn't do, like sending that text when you're sitting in the car, like, hey, just to let you know, and taking her needs and taking her insecurities and all that into consideration. And the fact that
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have a job, and it just takes humility for a man in general, but definitely a man of your stature, to just being as that I know how you were raised and I know who you are and how you are, to just sit there and watch your wife labor for you and the household, and she's the breadwinner and you're the one that's like, all right, I'm sitting back trying to get my stuff together so that I
Yep.
can be the provider and I can take the load off of her shoulders. And you literally just sat there and you just waited, and you took what some people would say a lesser job, even though you love it. Some people would say like fast food compared to Lowe's, it's like, okay, maybe he took a lesser job just to do whatever, but you made a sacrifice for your pride to even start the Chick-fil-A job. And
Yep.
at Chick-fil-A, I haven't worked at Chick-fil-A, but just being there, it's not a regular fast food place. It's not run like a regular fast food place. It's run like
Absolutely.
you would go to a 5-star restaurant. The customer service is immaculate. Like for the most part, to whatever one you go to, the one in the hood, the one in suburbs, for the
Yep.
most part, their customer service is always up to par. So
Yep.
it just, the humility is really screaming at me right now, like at the fact that not only does it require you to be humble in a marriage and in a relationship in general, but it's humility to even serve, because
Yep.
you can't even serve correctly, let alone serve at all, if you don't have humility.
Yep.
Like you said, like why would you? I don't want someone doing it for me with like with nasty intentions or with a nasty attitude. Like I want someone to serve
Right.
me with a whole heart and to wholeheartedly mean what they're doing when they're serving it, and let it be out of an act of love and not out of an act of like, I feel like I have to do this, like an act of obligation and stuff like that. So like
Right.
really just highlighting that to like the people listening, like, and I'm not married, but just listening and being able to relate because I see my parents do it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
there's a level of humility and a level of sacrifice that you have to do to stay married. Like not to just get married, but to stay married. Like
Yeah, bro.
the more and more you're worried about your pride or what you want to do, it's like it's that's detrimental. That's a cancer to the relationship. And
Oh, yeah.
when you become married, I know this much, like you become one. So there's
Yep.
no more me and you, it's us. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever you do affects us and whatever you do affects us. So you have to just realize that. And even in relationships, you have to just realize like if we're in this together, we don't need to treat it like this is just okay, like at the end of the day I'm gonna do what I want. No, like marriage is
Yeah.
covenant.
Oh, yeah.
Marriage is
Oh, yeah.
covenant. Like covenant is not I want to do what I want to do. Covenant is I whatever God wants us to do or whatever is good for us. That's what we're gonna do. Like
Yeah.
that's what it is. And like I'm sure you would have got you answered most of my questions, but I also wanted to really ask you like the sacrifice piece, because you sacrificed your pride for almost, you said almost a year with the job
Mm-hmm.
thing, and you sacrificed your pride working a job that had you working 6 to sometimes 11 for like a
Mm-hmm.
couple weeks and stuff like that. And that's it, pride to sit in that position and be like, I'm not going to work because my schedule says 6 to 3. I'm not working extra hours just to satisfy y'all just because we don't have any people to do that job. Like that takes
Right.
humility to be able to suck that up and then take the
Mm-hmm.
hit for it in your marriage or take the hit for it in your life. So I
Yeah.
just want to I want you to elaborate more on the sacrifice piece. Like, what sacrifices have you made? What sacrifices has she made? And if you haven't already told me, and just do you think what sacrifices are necessary? Like, what sacrifices do you think are necessary in the marriage?
Um, I think, um, she, so that whole time period was going on. So for me, working stretches, it was like 2 weeks at a time, but it was 2 weeks at a time, like a full 2 years of me
Mm-hmm.
working like 6 to 11. She had to sacrifice. So one of her love languages is quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was a big thing she had to sacrifice because not only like during that time she didn't see me. When she did see me, I was coming in, going to bed, and that was it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, I like, which is also like one of my, I like quality time is one of mine as well. I had to sacrifice, like me sacrificing that quality time, and in this case, for my job, for me wasn't a good, really wasn't a good sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the things that I've learned and I'm still learning because I'm not that good at it is like it goes it goes Jesus, your family, spouse, wife, and then your occupation, your job, whatever that is. And I had those priorities switch, and like it affected us in a way where we felt like we got no time together at all, ever.
Yeah.
But one thing she there was times where she would sacrifice things because like people at our church, like friends at our church, would like ask her to hang out, and it may be my only day off on that weekend, like that, and she's like, no, I'm gonna sacrifice, I want to hang out with my husband because I don't get to see him during the week, or I don't get to
Mm-hmm.
see him during this time. So she would sacrifice time with friends to hang out, and I was doing the same thing, but not as often. Like there was times where I would go or stay like and hang out with some of my friends, because I would, at this time I was working an hour away, some of my coworkers and stuff like that. And then like it would, she wouldn't say it, she won't come out and say it, but it a lot of times, sometimes it would hurt her because she hasn't seen me all week, and I see my coworkers all week. So to her it's like, you're choosing to spend your coworkers then, but like servanthood is her not being, she wasn't upset about it. She 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 never threw it back in my face or anything. She talked to me about it, and like it got to a point where like it clicked, and I was like, okay, I need to sacrifice time with them because I see them all week, work all the time. I need to be with my wife. I need to hang out with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
But this is different. Um, sacrificing like sacrificing your pride for the sake of another, like for the sake of your spouse, is probably like it's it's important, like because your pride is not worth your marriage,
Mm-hmm.
point blank period. It's not. And like me, like that stretch where I didn't have a job, man, like my pride was screaming because my pride would have called me to go do something that I hated, and I probably wouldn't like. Probably wouldn't be dancing anymore or anything, or even close to dancing. I'd probably be in the same predicament that I was in last year.
Mm-hmm.
But her allowing me to swallow my, like, kind of encouraged me to swallow my pride. Not only am I at Chick-fil-A, but I'm making as much, about like maybe a little bit less, and by a little bit less, it's just cents of what less of what I was making when I was at Lowe's.
That's amazing.
And I was making pretty good money at Lowe's. Like I was. But now I'm to a point where I'm making, not only am I able to provide Chick-fil-A because of how much I'm making there, it's all bonus because I'm also making money teaching dance again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes sacrificing your pride for a season, or sacrificing yourself, and like there's going to be seasons where you're going to have to build each other up. And that season was my wife. She was on top and she had to build, and she was going further than me, and she had to pull me through because I couldn't, like, pulling me up that whole time, and her pulling me up like put me into this position that I'm in. Um it's it's like it's kind of, it's almost like give and take. You're in this thing together, but there's going to be moments where one person is down, and you gotta make sure you're doing what you need to do to you got to make sure you're sacrificing and doing what you need to do to build your spouse back up.
Yeah.
um it was definitely push and pull, but there's, oh man, like I would, and these weren't bad sacrifices. These were like early on, because the only person I wanted to be around at one point in time was her. So like early on, I would sacrifice. This is when we still lived in Virginia, still lived in VA, but like there was times where I would sacrifice hanging out with people and different things like that because I knew she needed the time. Like when she's having those days of just sheer, she's down, she's depressed, she's not doing the best mentally that day, and like I get a call from one of my homeboys to be like, hey, we're let's all hang out, because us chilling is like more so like, yo, we're gonna play video games, bring out some board games, grab some pizza, some wings, order, and we'll chill at somebody's house.
Hmm.
Well, there's the sacrifice is downing that, knowing that your wife needs you there, or your spouse needs you there to build them up. So like you need to, I'm like making that sacrifice of like, nah, I'm gonna scoot this to the side. This is where my wife needs me now. Just things. Hey, I need your help around the house. Okay, sacrifice this. I'm gonna sacrifice this time. I'm gonna sacrifice. My biggest thing is, because I don't really go out. My biggest thing is I love and playing video games. Like that's just kind of a pastime. That's a stress reliever for me.
Hmm.
So like sacrificing that time to be like, okay, she needs me to help out with this, or she needs me to help her fill this thing out because we want to do some things, or she needs my help trying to figure out our budget for the month, or this and that. Like a lot of times, like I don't want the weight of the world, the weight of our marriage to just fall solely on her. So I have to sacrifice my me time, which I am very much introverted. I am very much to myself.
Yes,
I am a
sir.
great, I think I'm a good people person. I can talk with people, but when that thing hits zero, it's and I don't want to be around nobody. Like,
Hmm.
so there's times where I just want to like, oh yo, I just want to play my PS4 and turn on some Benny the Butcher and just play 2K all day. Like that's all I want to, like, just different like music, and like just where modes where I want to listen to my music and play games, and like I have to sacrifice that me time because she needs that quality time for me, because this is where mentally, and her tank is low. Her love tank is low. So I have to sacrifice what I want to make sure the tank is full, and vice versa. It goes vice versa. But I hope that answered the question. But
Oh yeah,
yeah.
for sure. So, what area have you found yourself serving the most?
What area? What do you mean what area? Like what different areas? Like different what do you mean?
Um, More so like where in the relationship or where in the marriage have you found yourself having to serve the most? Like, is it more so like she needs more acts of service, she needs more words of affirmation, or she needs me to uh be more available, like things like that?
Mm,
Or she needs me to like make her plate, she needs me to take out the trash more, she needs me to like help clean more, like just like what
yeah.
areas have you like really locked in on serving her in? Yes.
I think ooh, one is words of affirmation.
Hmm.
Um One of the biggest, sometimes she struggles with like her self-image of herself. And of course I think she's gorgeous, but I know she needs to hear it.
Hmm.
um and learning, and in that learning not to get frustrated when I say it over and over again, because sometimes I'll say, oh babe, you're beautiful. And sometimes she'll shake her head no. And
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes it gets me so mad, but I'm like, I gotta realize that she has to unlearn this, just like because this is something she's thought of for years, you know.
Yeah.
But in words of affirmation, um, in physical touch, not so much like in you for you horn dogs out there, and I'm talking to you men. Physical touch does not mean sex. All right, it does not. It's a
Mm-hmm.
it's it's a small portion of it. Like that's intimacy. That's fine. That's cool. But like physical touch for her, like
Mm-hmm.
it brings her joy and fills her up when I give her a hug, or I'm just sitting there and I go to reach her hand, or I like go to rub her leg or rub her feet or something like that. Like that fills up her tank because like it's just her love language.
Mm-hmm.
And like doing that more often. The acts of service thing, I am working on it. I'm letting you know right now. I am
Mm-hmm.
working on it because I am not the best like when it comes to like just washing the dish, doing stuff just because. But one of the things she loves is me just blind giving her flowers just because. And I think that's more of a just just her like not so much, she's not really, gifts isn't her biggest thing, but like
The thought.
me taking the thought out to go in like gifts isn't her love language, but like me taking the thought and doing the service of going out to get her flowers, putting them in the vase, watering them, and then they be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely one of her a thing that I'm getting better at. I need to like get better, even better at it. But that's something I want to work on. But I think words of affirmation is something that an area that I focus on a lot, like a lot.
So, is there a secret formula to marriage and or serving? So, is there like any tips or any like I don't want to say a cheat code, but is there anything that makes it easier to like serve in a marriage?
Yes, love the person more than you love yourself, and that's
Mm,
the like because because if you love yourself more than that other person, you won't be able to serve them. You
mm-hmm.
won't be able to humble yourself. You are always going to put yourself first. Like love that other person more, you know. um it should be a it should be like a competition of who loves the other person the most.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the only thing, like, you know. um and I don't want to give like the cliche tips of like don't go to bed angry and all this other stuff like that. Like of course, yeah, you don't want to do that. But like we've recently found that a lot of times, sometimes when we get into discussions and get into different disagreements, like sometimes we don't come to a resolution. It's okay to say, hey, I don't want to be mad at you. I'm not mad at you. We still haven't come to a resolution yet, but can we dead this right now and then finish the conversation when we're both okay and all this stuff, and then saying like I love you and all. That's healthy. Like that is very, very healthy to do, because a lot of times you can go and keep going in circles and in circles and in circles, and there's no resolution, and like angry and angrier and angrier, and table this for a minute and then come back to it. And sometimes that's gonna be you going to sleep and coming back to it and coming back with a clear head and like allowing God to speak into the situation, and then y'all come back and be one. You know what I mean? And like that's one thing. But I think you have to love, and I'm speaking to myself on this situation because I am by far not perfect at any of this.
Mm-hmm.
And when Noelle sees this episode, or she's probably gonna be giving me looks like, you don't even do that all the way. I'm like, he's like, you absolutely right. I don't, but I'm working on it. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the only thing. Like working on it and showing effort goes a long way. Like one of the things that Noelle has told me that she said, "Hey, I would love it if you do this." She will come back to me and be like, "Hey, I've seen that you've actually made an effort to start doing this more, and I so appreciate it. Like, I may not be perfect, but she's like, I appreciate you doing that." You know what I mean? And that works for me because words of affirmation is one of mine too. Um, I think it's kind of one of mine. I got to do mine again. I know gifts is number one because I love giving gifts. Like that's number one. But like,
Oh yes,
yeah,
Rick, bro. Oh my
yeah,
God, you hitting it,
yeah,
bro.
yeah. But like,
These are some gems.
yeah, yeah. But like that words of affirmation of just saying it just makes me feel like, okay, she sees what I've been doing. She sees that I've actually been trying. And then
Hmm.
one thing I've been working on, it's not a love language, is like, don't say it, just do it. Because I am quick with the lip service, and then something happens and be like, oh shoot, I didn't get to it because of da 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 da. And
Hmm.
she's very much so like, I don't want to be mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, I would rather you not even tell me you're gonna do it, so I don't have the expectation of you doing it, than like than to tell me you do it and not do it. Um, but yeah, man, that's, I think, loving your spouse more than you love yourself. Like, when y'all are in arguments or something comes up or you're doing something or she asks you to do something, and like it goes vice versa for the wives too. Like, if your husband asks something of you, like, you know, like, and then your pride flares up of like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, how much do you love this person? And it's asking you in a respectful way, in a way that's like, not like, rather like just saying, hey, can you change this or change this, or I don't like when you do this, and actually hearing them and making the effort of like, no, not being defensive. Like, okay, I love this person. This is my person. Like, this is who I chose to marry and all this and everything. And like, do I love this person more than I love my pride? Like, is this gonna really hurt me? You know what I mean? Like, what am I losing by doing this for them? A lot of times pride will make you think, no, I'm gonna lose myself if I do this.
Hmm.
Like, I won't be myself if I just like, no, I'm not gonna text you when I'm home because I'm a grown man. I still want my freedom and all this other stuff. Like, I still want to be free. Nah, like, that's dead. Like, text your wife. Like, if what's gonna make, like, because when you walk upstairs, it's gonna be way worse that you didn't text her than if you did. You know what I mean? Like, and these are things I tell myself. Like, like, because it's not that I am not the type of person like, no, I want my freedom, I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. But it's like, sometimes I'm just lazy and I'm just like, oh shoot, or I just forget and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to text Noel,
Hmm.
hey, I am here, da 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 da, just a quick thing. And then sometimes I'm like, oh man, I didn't text him. Well, it'll be all right. And then I'll go upstairs, and then it's like, no, it's not all right. She's upset with me because I didn't text her. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
just different things. Like, I feel like, yeah, I said it a couple times, but loving your spouse more than you love your pride, than you love yourself, is that, I think that's a very, very important thing. It's a very hard thing too. It's a hard thing to put yourself last
Yeah,
in the situation.
you definitely hit it on the head when you were talking about the affirmation piece. Like, hey, I see you doing this. Like, just letting you know I acknowledge your effort. Like, because as men, like, even though men like whatever, I don't need that. Like, to for men, that's a pretty big deal for a lot of men. Like, you know what I'm saying? You go
Mm-hmm.
around, you fix a window, and it's like, all right, like, she ain't say, I like the way you made my fix the window. I like the way it closes now, make that squeaking noises. And
Yep.
like, and just in general, like, for humans in general, like, acknowledgement, like, hey, I see you. Like, I think we
Yeah.
all just want to feel seen and feel heard. Like, a lot
Yeah.
of times that's what gets lost in communication and in relationships, is people feel like they're not being seen anymore because circumstances change and life happens and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah.
you also hit it right on the head when you said, like, we don't always come to a resolution, we may dead it and come back to it. I think the comeback piece is what's key, because this
Yes.
whole we're gonna just agree to disagree is toxic. Like that.
Yeah.
What are you agreeing? Why would you agree to disagree? Like you
Yeah.
can disagree on an issue, on a topic, and say, okay, I respect where you're coming from. You respect where I'm coming from. We just don't agree on this, but we both hear where each other is coming from and we respect it. That's not agreeing to
Right.
disagree. That is
Yeah.
agreeing that we have a difference of opinion. This is totally
Right.
different. So
Right.
I love that piece of it. And you said something else about the pride, like just putting your pride down is not gonna hurt you. Like,
Yeah.
yes, like just
Yeah.
realizing like what is bigger to me, like the relationship or the pride.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get caught up in the whole I'm gonna lose myself piece, like you said, like I'm gonna lose myself. You're not
Yeah.
losing yourself, you're becoming a better version of yourself. Like
Yeah.
evolution always looks different. Like nothing
Hmm.
evolves and looks the same. Like Pokemon, like you don't ever see a Pokemon character like turn into the same Pokemon. It looks different.
Exactly.
It looks
Exactly.
totally different. And even over time, like animals have evolved. Like
Yeah.
even though they look similar, like the saber-toothed tiger didn't always look like what we picture it to be. Like
Hmm.
animals were bigger back then, now they're smaller. Like
Yeah.
that's evolution. Like you evolve and you change into whatever your environment is, you adapt.
Right.
And I think that sounds like it's really key in marriage.
Hmm.
And I think my
Hmm.
last question to you is, what advice would you give to newly wed couples or young married couples? Because you guys have been married for 5 years. Doesn't sound like
Hmm.
a long time, but it's a long time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just what advice would you give them? Like just drop some different gems or anything that you would have wanted to know going into a marriage.
Ooh. Um. Honestly, so one thing that we went through in premarital counseling that I take, and I wish I would have, like, one thing I really would have hold on to was, don't fall in love with the person that they are right now,
Hmm.
or don't fall in love with the person you want them to be in the future or anything. Love that person for who they are right now, which I feel like I did, and I feel like we're doing, but like,
Hmm.
constantly remind yourself of that, because like, again, people change over the years, people change, things happen. um Things happen, traumatic things happen, good things happen, like, just be ready for that. And man, fight. Like, fight for real, fight for your marriage, because, like, we're in a time where, like, just you you just don't know, and like, it just the idea of marriage to people is just going out the window. It's like,
Hmm.
nah, I don't want to deal with this, or I don't want to deal with this. Or you have people in your marriage just like, in marriages, and just like, yo, I'm done. Like, you said this the wrong way to me, and I don't take that from nobody, and da 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 da. And you've
Hmm.
never talked to me this way, and so I'm done. Here's these
Hmm.
papers, and I'm like, no, talk about it. Talk
Yeah,
about it. Let.
do the hard thing.
Communicate. Yeah, do the hard thing. There it is.
Hmm.
That's it. You're going to have to do the hard things in your marriage. Like, I think I knew that coming in, but I didn't know how hard they were going to be.
Hmm.
Be prepared to do the hard things in your marriage. That's the biggest. I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people. I think a lot of people are like, oh, it'll get harder, and this, and that, and da 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 da. Like, you're in the honeymoon stage now, and like, honestly, I feel like me and Noel have not left the honeymoon stage. Like, that's just how it is. But not because we've just been all lovey dovey and stuff like that, and we've had our arguments and all this stuff like that. It's just like, choose to stay in that honeymoon stage. Like, we choose to continue to love each other, but like, when people say marriage is hard and stuff like that, or like, oh, it'll get harder, it's easy right now, it'll get harder. I think Noel and I have been through some really, really hard stuff. And I think people don't really tell you what that hard stuff is. They just assume that, oh, it's just gonna be the other person, they're gonna get on your nerves and all this stuff. No, hard stuff is going through 3 miscarriages. Like that's hard. Like people get divorces off of that because they
Mm-hmm.
blame each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's hard stuff. Like moving, packing up everything and moving to a city for a church that you've never went to and stuff like that, but you know God is calling you to that church, calling you to serve in that church, and packing up everything and going. That's hard. Working a job for 2 years and working from 6 to 11, driving an hour away and knowing it's affecting your marriage, but having nothing to do about it. But you guys are still trying to fight for your marriage. That's hard. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
real hard stuff. And then your spouse taking up the financial stability and like being the head of the household for a moment because you don't have a job and you can't find a job and nobody's calling you back and all of this stuff, and like you're trying to do little odd job. Like that whole time I was trying to do Instacart and stuff like that, but it was not hitting like it was. So like I would do Instacart while looking for jobs and all this stuff through that time. And it was, and like that's hard watching your wife take the load and brunt of everything, and then
Mm-hmm.
she's like, and like she can't catch a break, you know, like that's hard stuff. So I think that's where the thing is, where you got to be prepared to do the hard things, because there are going to be hard things that come in your marriage, but remember in those hard things that it's worth it for that other person. It's worth it, like it is, because when you come out of it, you're going to be a stronger person, your marriage is going to be stronger, your bond is going to be stronger. Like nothing can break that. So that's the, I think, be prepared to do the hard things is what I would say.
For sure. Those were some gems for sure. Cause I feel like like I said, like if you could look at my notes and I do match everything of what you said, literally you answered everything, and I think you gave over and beyond like gems for people just being married. Cause I know I've been getting requests like maybe you should like get a young married couple on, which I still want to do,
Yeah.
and maybe you should get like people younger to like kind of show us like what everything is. And I'm like, oh, I do have married friends like that are like around my age. Like I
Yeah.
do have married friends that are a little bit older that are not too far up for me to relate to. Like I don't have to
Right.
just go to my parents and stuff like that, because honestly, like my parents are very relatable. They're very understanding. They're very in tune with this generation, the generation before them, everything. But they don't exactly quite know what it is to grow up how we grew up, like just in
Exactly.
our
Yeah.
environment and everything. Like
Yeah.
they grew up without internet. When they had internet, they were going into their 30s almost.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it's just great and refreshing to hear marriage talked about, for one, so positively in general,
Yeah.
because it's just like marriage is looked at as just something to do, like, oh yeah, maybe we'll get married, maybe we won't. Like it's not a big deal anymore, and
Yeah.
it's not really looked at as something prestigious. It's just like, and not a knock on any of the car businesses, but it's just like, oh, it's a Chrysler. Like, oh, that's just another Acura. Like, oh,
Yep.
like it's not looked at like that's a Rolls Royce, like that's a Ferrari, that's a
Right.
Lamborghini. Like, and that's what marriage is. Like, for anyone to
Right.
get in that position and be in that position, that is what it is. It's luxury
Mm.
and
Yeah.
it's prestige. So I
Yeah.
just really appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, really pushing that message and definitely being a man of everything that you're talking about. Granted, you're not perfect, but it's evident in the 5 years that y'all being together that y'all have been up, down, all around, and like y'all are still here. And it's not a thing like I'm here, but I'm barely here. Like I got one foot
Right.
dragging and I got the other one, you know what I'm saying, limping. And that's just
Right.
amazing to see. And definitely wanted to commend you on this stage and just in
Yeah.
general. Like that's word, bro. Like that's
I appreciate it,
goals.
man. I
That's goals for
appreciate it.
real.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, no
Man.
problem.
I
So
hope everybody gets to that point. Like, I want everybody to get married, bro. I love
for sure.
marriage. Like, I do. I'm like, I already told you, your boy, I'm gonna be in there, in there. I'm gonna be the hypest dude in the reception. And they're like, get Ricky out of here. Like, nah, bro. I'm gonna
Literally.
be apple cidered up, double bottle.
Double bottle, double cup.
Is Martinelli on deck? Okay,
For
on deck.
sure. So closing out, I just want to give you the scenario. I feel like we've had this talk before, but I don't think you gave me your answer. So if you had to be a villain in a movie, a TV series, a cartoon, or an anime, who would you be?
Who would I be? Dang, that's crazy. Because there's so many a villain. There's so many good villains, dog.
Exactly. And I love the villain, like, and that probably sounds terrible, but I love the villain. Like, I be in,
I love a good villain, bro.
bro, I be watching the Avenger movies and Batman. I'm like, why they don't ever win? Like, why can't they ever
Yo,
win?
yeah. Okay, so it's gonna be cliche. So I may give you two. So
Okay.
Thanos definitely.
Mm.
Thanos, he's a good villain.
Thanos is a dog, bro.
Bro, he's a good villain. Bro, when he three-pieced and broke down the Hulk, I was like, oh shoot, I'm in for it. Like I was like, bro, this is over. It's like uh, the Hulk was doing the Nate Robinson challenge before Nate Robinson.
Oh God.
I was like, dog. I was like, oh, he is about to get beat down.
Mhm.
Now he's a great villain. Killmonger's a great villain. Oh, dang. Who would want to be though? Dang. Trying to think.
I feel like you know who
Mm.
I want to be.
I'm trying to think. Who would you want to be?
Oh, Vegeta, without question.
Okay, yes,
Without
okay.
question.
Without question. Okay, of
For
course.
sure.
Yo, honestly, I was thinking Cell.
Ooh.
I would want to be Cell.
See, I wouldn't want to
Either
be. I wouldn't want to be
or
Cell because
Frieza.
he be sucking people up like with his tail.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
that's weird.
but Frieza. Oh
I
my.
I I'll change my yeah. It would have to be Frieza because one. So have you caught up and started watching Super?
No, I'm literally on season 9 of Dragon Ball Z, and I know I don't need to watch it to watch that, but I had to rewatch everything.
Okay, I got you. Okay,
Mhm.
then I'm so. Have you seen any of the seen the titles of any of the movies and stuff like
Yeah, I
that?
know. I know Frieza's back. I know Frieza's back, and
Okay.
he's stronger than ever. So
Yes. Here's it's a little bit of a spoiler. So here's the reason why I would want to be Frieza. So Frieza, one, he's a dog. Like
for
he was
sure.
taking people out just for straight low key racist, but we're gonna drive past that.
High key,
High
but you
key,
know.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna drive past that. Um, he's a beast.
Hmm.
Um, he dies and all that good stuff. Comes back as metal cooler or metal Frieza. Trunks slices him up, all this other stuff. Then he dies again. He's in hell or whatever. They go to they go get him in Super for a specific purpose,
I read
and
that.
they resurrect him.
Hmm.
And like, not only does he come back stronger, this man has never trained in his life, and he trained for like a couple months and already start match where Goku and Vegeta's level were. And
Yep.
they are way past like your Super Saiyan 3s and all that stuff. Way past it, right? And like he comes back and he's low key dogging him. Like when he comes back, like he's
I
a
saw
beast.
him
And
dogging Vegeta on like this little clip on YouTube, and I was like, well, hold on now, hold on.
yeah, yeah. I'll definitely be Frieza and the new Brawly.
Mm.
Bro, if you have not seen the
I
new
know you
Brawly
told me.
movie,
You told me I need to see that movie. I saw it in Walmart, and I was like, I don't even want to buy it because if I buy it, I have to watch it. But I gotta catch up on Super first.
yeah.
I have
So
to.
I will say it's its own story to where you wouldn't have to catch up on Super, but it gives you a different background and a better story to Broly. Like it gives the history of what really happened when Frieza like destroyed the same planet and all this that. It's really good, bro. Really good.
Bro, I think that's my issue right now with Dragon Ball Z is I started rewatching it because I was like, I need to connect the dots
Yeah.
because a lot of stuff makes sense, but then when you do research online, you're like, wait a minute, that's why that happened, or that's why he's this way.
Mm-hmm.
Like they should have did like with the movie with when they show Goku and Vegeta and all them as babies and stuff. Like
Yeah.
they should have went in detail with it. Like
Yeah.
where's Raditz? Where's Turles? Where's Vegeta? Where's
Yeah.
Goku? Where's Brawly? Where's like
Yeah.
make it simple because where's Nappa? Like you got everybody popping up out of nowhere, and it's just like, oh yeah, he survived. He was out on a mission when he was doing that. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure knowing as thorough as Frieza is, he don't leave people behind on
Right.
like
Right.
do it on purpose. So like explain that. So I'm
They,
glad you said that about the Broly
yeah.
movie.
They do a good job of explaining it. Now, Turles, they probably won't explain him because so all of the movies are non-canon except for the newest Brawley movies. So
Yeah.
all the other they didn't exist in this actual series,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I would definitely Brawley would be a second one because in this new one, boy, he was working folks like he was a beast. But like his storyline was so good, so
Mm-hmm.
good, like really good for Dragon Ball Z because like no, like we grew up on it. Like being real, storyline of Dragon Ball Z is trash. Like it's the same storyline over and over and over again. And I'm like, man, I love Dragon Ball Z, but dog, it's so trash. But yeah, definitely Frieza for the simple fact that he came back, trained for only 2 months, where
Mm-hmm.
Goku and Vegeta have been training their whole life, and he matched them in a matter of months compared to like years of training for them. Nah, yeah, I'd definitely be Frieza.
For sure. Like, and closing out, bro, I've been thinking about this for a week now. Because, like I said, I'm rewatching season 9 and I'm watching Boo wreak havoc. Bro, to see Frieza and Boo go at it.
That'd be him and Kid Buu would be a match.
Bro, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Kid Boo. Because, Majin Buu, like
Yeah,
Super Boo, but Kid
yeah.
Boo, a
Kid
problem.
Buu.
He's a
Yeah,
problem. And
he's
Frieza, like, quote unquote, was the strongest person in the universe for like 3 sagas. Like,
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then he was
bro.
killing people without exerting any energy and without transforming. So it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
if
So
Boo
that's what
just
made it so crazy about him training. Like he was doing all that damage with no training and then for 2 months, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm about where y'all are right now. Give me another like." He crazy,
bring Cooler
crazy.
back, bring him
Yeah,
back. He
bro.
was stronger than
They need
Frieza.
to.
Bring him
They
back.
need to. They need to, bro. I feel like Cooler would have been great in the show. I feel like with all the movies, they would have been great in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring them in. But yeah, yeah. But yeah, I'd be free for sure,
For
for sure.
sure. For sure. Bye, man. That's wrapping it up. I appreciate you, my guy, for
Of course,
sacrificing your time on a work night.
bro.
You
Of
got work.
course, honored to be a part of the Rapper Cap podcast episode.
Appreciate you,
This
bro.
is
Appreciate you.
I'm definitely I'm here for it. I was super pumped when you said, "All right, we got to get you on." I was like, "Yeah, thank
Yeah, I
you,
was
thank
like,
you."
I'm like, why we gotta wait? Like, we can just do a Zoom, and then when everything calm down, we link up. Definitely just get you in
Boom.
person. Like, I ain't trying to wait
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, yeah. So thank you for having me on here and talk my talk a little bit. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you. We can close you out because I know Noel looking like, all right, my time. Like,
Heard that. Definitely.
right, y'all. This is another one from the Rapper Cap podcast. I'm your host, Mike the Young OG. This is Ricky Wallace. You can follow him at
Just Ricky, no Ricardo on Instagram.
On
Everything
Instagram.
else is just Wallace Jr. on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter that much, so like, I mean, I guess I don't even know my Twitter @ name. So Ricky Wallace Jr. on Facebook, and then at just Ricky no Ricardo on Instagram. There you may catch like some videos of me dancing and stuff. That's where I kind of post most of my stuff at. So
Word. And you can follow the podcast page on Instagram, RAPORCAP podcast. And you can even follow the Twitter page. Yeah, the Twitter page. Just remove the T and add the 1, and follow me on Instagram, Mike the Young OG. That's YOUNG. We're literate. So that's it, man. I appreciate you again, and we closing out.
yes, sir.
Sir.
Appreciate it. Deuces. Later, man.
All right, bro.